Mini skirt on, dip my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, dip my body
Hello. You're now tuned in to the Little Bit a Lot podcast. I'm your host, Kristen, and welcome back to another episode. Thanks so much for joining me this week, guys. It has been a great week, and we have a couple of things on the docket to talk about. The fact that I was featured on Good Children's podcast with Andrew and Joe. Oh my goodness, that's literally gagging me. We also have to talk about the Love Island USA season 7 finale. That was insane. And we also have to talk about Beyond the Villa. That show premiered on, was it this past Sunday, where we were able to get a glimpse of the girlies and guys from season 6 of Love Island and get to see what they've been up to for the past year since the show, shook up the world. So I have a couple notes on my iPad I really want to get into and discuss with you guys. But before we do that, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you guys for rocking with me, and I'm rocking with y'all. Love you down. So make sure you give this video a like if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Comment down below to let me know, what do you think about the winners from Love Island USA? Did you watch Beyond the Villa? What are your thoughts on that? Do you watch Good Children, the podcast? Let me know. Let's just chit chat in the comments, okay? W's in the chat, and subscribe. I'm now on my road to my first 800 subscribers, so I would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. We talk about pop culture, we talk about mental health, so if you join the gang, you won't regret it, and turn those post notifications on so you don't miss an episode. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, thank you so much. Rate that 5 stars for me if you could, and leave a review to let me know what you think about the show. So when it comes to the Good Children podcast, for those who listen to my show, you guys already know that I'm locked in when it comes to Andrew and Joe. Okay, they are 2 podcasters and they have been killing the game. Recently got signed to a podcast network, I believe, with Trixie and Katya from Drag Race and Bob the Drag Queen and Monet. I think that's what it said. So I'm so incredibly proud of those 2. They are really doing so well with their show, and I have been a fan of them for quite a long time now, since the beginning of their show. And I went to go see them on tour this year. They had a live show where they did their podcast in Chicago. You guys know I stay about 4 hours away from Chicago, so I drove up there, made a trip out of it, and I had a meet and greet. If you haven't seen that vlog, it's on my YouTube channel. I have a playlist on my channel called Vlogs, I believe. So every vlog that I've ever made, you can watch there. And that was such a fun time meeting them. And they have a segment on their podcast where they're Good Children to the Guidance Office, and they take calls and give people advice. So I had never been the one to call in and ask for advice, but one day I was coloring and I'm just you know what, F it. I would really like to see if there's a chance that they could possibly answer my advice, because I was really kind of going through a little bit of a struggling period. I feel like I do this once a quarter, especially when I'm on my cycle, and then I get off an edible, and then I'm wait, what am I doing right now? Am I really sharing some of my life on the internet? And then I start suddenly thinking about the fact that people can perceive me, and people that I know, grew up with, went to school with, coworkers, the idea of those people seeing what I'm doing and potentially judging me or talking about me sometimes literally keeps me up at night. And it's something that I still struggle with, because you always want to still have the confidence to push through and share what you want to share, say what you want to say, and make the content that you want to create. But there's always that little voice in the back of my head sometimes that tells me what if other people think that I look silly? It's something that I have to kind of fight through, like I said, once a quarter. So I basically just called in and asked them, do they deal with the fear of being perceived, as content creators and podcasters? How do you navigate that? That would be great to be able to get some advice, since they're, doing so well. And it was really nice, because I think I left the voicemail last week or the week before last. And then on the recent episode that they just dropped this Wednesday, they picked my voicemail. So thank you so much to Andrew and Joe. The fact that you could have just picked so many other calls, but you picked my call was really nice. And it was really cool to be able to also have that as a way to get my podcast out there. And have their listeners, be able to hopefully come on over to my show and listen. So if you came over there from Good Children, hey y'all, thank you so much. And overall, just most importantly, just from like podcaster to podcaster, I really appreciated them taking so much time out of their day to genuinely like think about, the answer to the question and be able to just relay how much they relate to that and express that they also struggle with it too. And, Andrew was saying that he really struggled with it, for the first couple of months when they were in their beginning of their podcast era, with people that he was like dating, if they were going to see it and judge him, his family, if they were going to see it and judge him. But ultimately, I feel like they gave such great advice, and I wrote down some of it in my notes. And I said that I love that they said that no one more successful than you will ever judge you, and that's like so valid to me. And I also love that Joe kind of like said that he measures success as like the act of doing the thing rather than like the results of doing the thing. Like the fact that if anybody has a problem with what you're doing, it's because they're not doing it. And they are just projecting and like wish that they could be in the position to be able to do what you have the courage to do. So that just really meant so much to me. And shout out to Gerald Lee. That is my internet bestie. Make sure you guys go follow him on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, because I hadn't even seen the episode and knew that I was even mentioned in the episode and that they picked my voicemail. But then I woke up and Gerald Lee messaged me and he's like, girl, you're on the Good Children podcast. And I'm like, what? So I immediately went to go listen to it on Spotify, watched it on YouTube as well. And I'm like, oh my God, I am gagged. So yeah, also he's another fellow creator that I really, really love. And we both love Good Children. So like I said, be sure to follow him. He's always on TikTok live. I've been on his TikTok before. We just chat and kiki, like love you down. Cause I would have ended up like maybe listening to the episode maybe like 2 days later, because I had such a busy week. I was, behind on the Good Children pod. So I appreciate that. But yes, so that was really fun. And then we also have to talk about Love Island USA season 7. We finally had the finale. And I was going to kind of do like an episode breakdown from like the episodes that I hadn't talked about from the last time we talked. But I'm like, there's really no point, because at the end of the day, the winners are the winner. Amaya and Brian won, and I am so incredibly proud of them. Like, it is just so nice to be able to see this couple who are like non-white be able to be in this position and get opportunities. And I've just been really enjoying like watching their interviews and them talking about like what they plan on doing with the money, with giving back and donating to charity. And it just seems like they're both like really like family oriented, kind, and like just good people. So I feel like, that $50,000 for both of them is just really going to do some good. And at the end of the day, you guys know that I was just rooting for my Amaya Papaya. It would have been, of course, lovely to see Nick and Nicolandria win, but the fact that they were runners up is still iconic. And I feel like even though you may not win the show, if you're a contestant and you don't get the $50,000, I think that it's almost like Drag Race, where you still are a winner in the end, because you can then now have an opportunity to be on a platform of a reality show where people know you. And I think that it's kind of up to you from then on to take it and run with it. And I'm just really excited to see like what the rest of the cast members do that didn't win, and see how they're able to capitalize on this exposure. And it's been really nice being able to see Nick and Nicolandria do their interviews as well. And Nicolandria's like, I think I want to start my modeling career. And I think that she's in good hands, because Nick seems to have, a decent modeling career. There's been so many people like making TikToks where they're like, this girl was working at a scrub store and she opened up the scrub catalog and saw Nick like modeling some of the hospital scrubs, which, makes sense because he's a nurse. So he like has his feet wet when it comes to modeling. So it would be really nice to be able to have him use his resources to be able to help Nicolandria out with modeling, because we all know like she's got the face, she's got the body, like she can really serve, I think, when it comes to a modeling career and really take it somewhere. And we also saw that like Shelly, she was doing modeling, before Love Island as well. And I was looking at a couple of her videos and I'm like, stunning. So that's really nice to see. I'm wondering if Ace is going to go back to doing like his usual TikTok antics with like going on live with people from across the world and dancing. So I'm just overall just really excited and just happy for, everyone and not just the winners, like it seems like everyone is just so happy. Even some of the Casa boys, people are really just trying to capitalize and make videos and make content and like really run with this. So I am just always, never going to be a hater when it comes to somebody potentially being able to like get, quote unquote clout from a situation, especially like no matter what, like being on reality TV is mentally taxing in some capacity on a human level. So kudos to everybody for kind of making it through that. So yeah, that was really interesting. And just in general, I adore Amaya and Brian, the few little videos that they've been making and everything. So love y'all down. And also when it comes to the Nick and Nicolandria situation, you guys know that I have some thoughts because now I feel like that they're out of the villa. We're just continuously getting this like rah where everybody's like, Nick and Nicolandria are just not real and it's forced. And it's like, I'm so over this drama because I just feel like how many times do Nick and Nicolandria like have to say that they're genuinely interested in each other for people to believe that this is real? Like, God forbid a man worships the ground that a Black woman walks on, Like, I don't understand. What is it that you guys are not picking up what they're putting down? Like, what? And I saw this post on Instagram from this account called Vibes of a Black Girl, where they basically talk about the struggles that Nicolandria has had when she was going through her Love Island journey and how important it was for Nick to show up for her in the way that he did. And I kind of wanted to share the slides with you guys because I feel like this is a really important message. So basically the first slide on the post that they shared says, this season of Love Island USA reminded us that soft love exists and Black women do not have to suffer or struggle to receive it. From girlhood, Black women are expected to endure and prove our worth by how much we're willing to carry. We are praised for being loyal, for holding it down, and for staying in situations even when they hurt us. Dating as a Black woman often comes with unspoken rules, and the pressure to uphold societal expectations and cultural ideals can keep us tied to a struggle that was never ours to carry. Black women deserve to be treated right and given deep devotion. So sometimes that means choosing oneself and going where the love is. That's deep. The next slide says that the dynamic between Nicolandria and Taylor is mirrored the sacrifice, emotional labor, and hardship that many Black women experience when dating Black men. And from early on, Black women are taught to pour into Black men to put their needs before our own and prove our worth through struggle and suffering. So even when it's not working, we are conditioned to just ride it out, stay loyal, be a ride or die, and focus on their potential rather than their patterns. The lack of care, attentiveness, and initiative and intentionality shown to Nicolandria is a familiar truth for many Black women. It reflects a reality where some Black men feel far too comfortable wasting our time, knowing that we've been conditioned to stay, wait, and hope that they'll change. So Nicolandria's experience felt familiar because we understand what it's like to feel unseen, having to move through the world in survival mode, and unable to rest in your softness. Right? That got me, okay? Because I feel like this is particularly true for Black women who are also eldest daughters, like myself and Nicolandria. It also says that Black women are often expected to hold it all together and lead with composure at all times, even when we're tired and we're hurting. And we are never given the same amount of grace as our counterparts. Like, we all know what she meant when she said she's got to save face. And I feel like this particular part is very valid as well with her experience because she was aware that she couldn't go on here and act a fool at every single inconvenience and turn the way that Hutta was societally accepted to do versus her because she wasn't given the same amount of grace. And then the second that she did something that everybody wasn't particularly fond of, then it was, oh, Nicolandria, all of a sudden everybody's going unfollowing her on Instagram. And it's like, right. God forbid a Black woman has a moment just like Huda had. But once again, we have to lead with composure at all times, even when we're tired, even when we're hurting. And like it said, we are never given the same amount of grace as our counterparts. So we move on to the next slide, and it says that historically, Black women are very rarely seen or loved out loud on Love Island, especially UK, due to racism, colorism, and prejudice. However, from the very beginning, Nick saw Nicolandria slowly creating space for her to be soft and lean into her femininity. Black women have always deserved romance, to be yearned for, loved, and adored. And seeing a beautiful, smart, dark-skinned Black woman not have to earn desirability and be cared for so openly on a show like this challenges everything that we've been taught about who deserves love, who gets to be chosen, and what those relationships are supposed to look like. And throughout Nick and Nicolandria's journey, we were able to watch the ways that Nick advocated, reassured, and affirmed Nicolandria with intention. After everything she experienced in her previous connection with Taylor, it was powerful to see her then be appreciated and desired in a way that felt safe. Watching her shyness fade and her walls slowly come down felt like a reflection of what happens when a Black woman actually feels seen and secure. And Nicolandria even admitted that she missed the signs and didn't realize that Nick was interested in her until much later, which is something that many of us Black women can relate to when love shows up in ways that we're not expecting or used to. It also says the subtle glances, the gentle handholds, the tenderness, their chemistry, Nicolandria and Nick's, was visible from the start, and it served as a reminder that Black women are soft. When cared for properly, we are able to let go of survival mode and rest in our femininity. And earlier in the season, Nicolandria shared that she didn't feel like her previous connections' words matched his actions. So it's a complete shift from what she then later experienced with Nick. We love a man whose words also match his actions. As we all know, though, who Black women choose to be with always seems to be political. So it's no surprise that we've seen mostly white men and women crash out and question the authenticity of Nicolandria and Nick's connection, calling it fake and forced or for the show. At Chicks in the Office. At Chicks in the Office, I think that's the name of the podcast, because what was that? Like looking at the comment section, a lot of people were not feeling the way that those two white women were almost like being like, really? You really like Nicolandria? When it came to Nick, like, girl, yes, the freak. So wasn't feeling that. But anyways, back to the post. It says that the idea that a conventionally attractive white man would genuinely pursue and choose a beautiful, smart, dark-skinned woman who didn't have to chase, code switch, or perform disrupts the power dynamic that white people rely on to feel superior, desired, and in control. And it exposes the deep-rooted anti-Blackness, colorism, and jealousy that so many of them carry. They hate seeing a Black woman win without a struggle, and we love to freaking see it. Okay. Then it says that dating interracially as a Black woman does come with external pressure and internal fears that are shaped by societal expectations, desirability politics, and the patriarchal and racial systems at play. And sometimes the scrutiny and emotional labor can feel like too much to take on for both parties. That's really valid. So what made Nicolandria and Nick's relationship so interesting to watch was to see both of them navigating some of these complexities in real time, from Nicolandria questioning if they even looked natural together to conversations around openness, attraction, and preference. We saw both of them working through their own needs for approval and acceptance from their families while learning how to show up for each other, like, at the same time. Then the next slide says that Black women are the least likely group in the United States to marry outside of their race, with only 12% of Black women doing so compared to 24% of Black men who choose to marry non-Black women, that is double the rate. So the data basically underlines how loyalty and the weight of hashtag Black love can sometimes narrow our dating pool, and it keeps us waiting for love that may never show up. However, the data does tell a different story about what happens when we do marry outside of our race. Statistically, Black women and white men have the most stable marriages out of all interracial marriages in the United States, with a 44% lower divorce rate than white-on-white couples over the past 10 years. Data like this does challenge the idea that dating outside of the race is riskier for Black women. On the flip side, Black men married to white women have the highest divorce rates and are almost 2 times as likely to break up. So the last slide says, so do more Black women need to expand their dating pool? So I felt like that was such a interesting slide because I feel like it kind of like breaks down perfectly how I've been feeling when it comes to Nicolandria. And I feel like a lot of people who are, trying to say that I just don't see it, like maybe it's Nicolandria. It seems like she doesn't even really like him. If you're non-Black, then I don't really think that it's going to be as easy for you to understand and see that she does actually like him and that she does actually care for him. And like I said, specifically being like eldest daughter core and being a Black woman, there are so many guards that are up, and she's also not the type of person who's like super bubbly, super giggly. So the way that she shows that she's feeling it are going to look a lot more like subtle than other people would look. Like her reactions to cute little things are not going to be as big and expressive as Amaya, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't like him, and that doesn't mean that she's not happy. So I don't really like the way that they're kind of just like judging her in that way, and it just all feels kind of like microaggressions in my opinion. So yeah. And I'd say overall, after, reading this post, I'm not saying that this is just about race, but I just feel like at the end of the day, the post kind of just reminds you that it's important to remember that Black women need to go where they're loved and appreciated no matter what. So if that does happen to be with someone outside of your race, whether you're a lady, gay, that just means that you shouldn't be afraid. And I personally have not dated outside my race. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 12 years, but if I happened to be in Nicolandria's shoes and I was single, I think I would have considered doing the same thing that she did, and that's perfectly okay. And I just want to say that also, like, even if Nick and Nicolandria like don't work out in the long run, at least for now, she is shown grace and care from a man that she deserves, and that's all that should matter. Period. Then we also have the Love Island Beyond the Villa. Like I said, this is a series that was started to talk about season 6 because that season just kind of blew up all over, and it just became one of like the most popular seasons of Love Island. Because of that, they were able to get a reunion, and they were also able to get this spinoff so that way we can catch up with what they've been up to since they were in the villa. And I don't really have too many thoughts about this first episode. I guess it's not really exactly like as good as I thought it was going to be, but then again, it's just episode 1, so I'm going to keep watching and see. And I feel like not too much really happened, but at the end of the day, it was still nice to see Serena and Cordell and see that both of them are pursuing their dreams and passions and, utilizing every opportunity that they're able to get since being the winners of the last season. And I also wanted to note that I didn't really love the fact that Connor was on the show because I don't really feel like he's that interesting. And when it comes to his drama with Janae, for those who, know about that, I feel like at the end of the day, like Janae, as a Black woman, has a right to want nothing to do with him if that's how she feels. Like, you're not, entitled to be able to get my energy or be around my space just because we were on the same show together. If I'm not rocking with you, I'm not rocking with you, and that's like perfectly okay. So I don't really like the fact that there are so many people online trying to make it seem like Janae is doing the most. Like, she's allowed to have boundaries, and she's allowed to be in spaces with people that she wants to be in spaces with, So if she's not feeling him, she's not feeling him. Period, point blank. Like, what? I just feel like at the end of the day, just like I said earlier, black women are not allowed like the same type of grace. And I feel like if she was white and she wasn't messing with somebody, they'd be like, yeah, they need to stay away. But because she's black and she's got beef with a white man, then all of a sudden it's the biggest issue in the world. Like, please pipe down, okay? Like, really is really quite, back talk, like cut the rah-rah, like cut the noise, because we are allowed to have beef, especially with a white man who was kind of talking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, are we going to forget the microaggressions that Connor was giving when they were coupled up? Like, what? Like, there was a moment I wrote down that I will never forget when he was talking to Leah in season 6. They were on the dock. Okay. And he was saying that he intentionally rated Janae a 7. I forgot what the rating was for. I don't know if it was like for a kiss or if they were blindfolded or something, because he was saying something about how like he had a feeling that it was her. So then he intentionally rated it a 7. And he was like, I'm going to get yelled at later. And it's like, first of all, why would you even say that? Like, I felt like that in itself was kind of a microaggression towards Janae, because she's not even like that type of girl. She's very soft. She's very sweet, like doesn't really crash out. So why would she yell at you? I feel like, is it because she's black? You feel like she's going to yell at you? Like, I don't know. Like, that's not even in her character. So that was kind of like microaggression, like on my radar when he did that. And he was saying that he kind of did it on purpose with rating her to 7, even though he feels like he's going to quote unquote get yelled at later, and he doesn't know why, but he just felt like throwing some shade. He just felt like throwing shade. He intentionally wanted to be shady towards Janae, which I'm like, in the moment, I'm like, well, that's weird, because like she literally did nothing to you. Like, she's genuinely trying to like give you a chance to explore the connection. In her confessional, she's like, yeah, Connor seems really sweet. And then your confessionals, you're like, I ain't really feeling her. And I kind of feel like being shady towards her. And I really actually want to pursue Leah. I'm like, right. Like, the switch up was really, really strange and really, really weird. And I just do not understand to this day why Connor in that moment had like so much low key animosity towards Janae, just because he actually really wanted Leah. It's like, okay, you can want that and also not have to make me like a victim in your situation, because you can't get what you want when I didn't even do anything to you. And so then after he like told Leah, like, yeah, I rated her a 7, and, I don't know, I just felt like throwing a little shade. Both him and Leah like laughed, which I'm like, question mark? And like, at the end of the day, if you're a part of the Leah hive, love and respect you. But at the end of the day, I'm entitled to be able to give my opinion. And the second that Leah did that, I also was like side eyeing her as well. Because what do you mean that you're 2 white people sitting on the dock? Well, is Leah white? I don't know. Either way, non-black. 2 non-black people sitting on the dock laughing about the fact that this white man just threw shade and microaggressions towards this black woman for no reason. So I don't know. I just feel like if, Leah was the ride or die that she said she was, I would have assumed that she'd been like, no, like, that's not really fair. Like, what do you mean? Why do you need to throw shade at Janae? Like, what did she do to you? She could have said anything to stand up and defend Janae, but she chose not to. And then like, since then, I kind of was like, I don't know. Like, are you really for the girls? Are you truly for the girls? Are you truly like ready to accept what comes with being in a friendship trio with 2 black girls? Are you really going to be there to stand up for them when it comes to, these societal microaggressions that are thrown at us for no reason? We're always constantly catching strays with the second that a white man feels some type of way. And if you're not there to defend my honor, then like, why the frick are we friends? I don't know. So guys, like, let us not forget that's the type of time that Connor was moving on. So of course, here we are. Janae is like, he's the op. I don't want nothing to do with him. And understandably, Kenny, as my man, I don't want you to have nothing to do with him. And I'm glad that Kenny stood on 10 toes, because when Connor tried to pull him for a chat at that party, he's like, hey bro, like what? And Kenny's like, she feels disrespected by you. So like, I don't know what to tell you, brother. And then now he's talking about, well, I tried to DM her. No, brother. If you're going to turn up on the doc on national television and literally tell the world that you felt like throwing shade at me for no reason and like make me look crazy because you want to pursue Leah, then you should apologize publicly, not, privately through DM. I feel like that's the least you could do. And I just feel like it's just so white man for him to be like, what'd I do? What? When he knows exactly what the frick he did. And then Leah talking about, well, that was a year ago. So I don't care. I don't care. And of course, Leah is like, that was a year ago. Because she was part of the antics too. Let us not forget. So I don't know, bro. I was just bombastic side eyeing about that whole situation in general. And I don't care. I'm Team Janae. So shout out to Janae for standing on 10 toes, because if she ain't rocking with Connor, then she ain't rocking with Connor. Like, anybody that got a problem with that, then like you can back the freak off. Okay. I also thought it was a little weird that like the situation that was going on between like Kayla and Liv, and like of course seeing Kendall just continue to be messy. Like even at the party, he's like instigating with Kayla and Liv, but then also like instigating with what like everybody else has going on. And it's like, Kendall, you haven't changed. Like you're still messy. You're still freaking messy. But in this situation, as annoying as we know that Kayla can sometimes be when it comes to like her antics with like her and Aaron, at the end of the day, like I always have a little, sympathy for her just as a girl and a woman in general, because at the end of the day, technically Kayla didn't do anything wrong. Like just because her constant crying is a little bit annoying, God forbid a girl's a sensitive gangster, like Amaya says, like Kayla didn't ask to constantly be disrespected by Aaron over and over again. And we watched him on season 6, like play her in so many ways that's like not even worth my time even bringing back up. Like, if like there were so many instances where he like quite literally just played in that girl's face and did what he had to do sometimes to just shut her up. And it's like, that's not okay. So ultimately, like, yes, Kayla, is, I'm sure, just like everyone else, a flawed person. But when it comes to her and Aaron, I get where she's coming from, like he, as a man, was moving really crazy. And I feel like in her situation with Liv is also moving like crazy. And I guess they were basically talking about how Kayla and Liv were living together at Kayla's house with her family for like 2 months. And like, okay, I let you into my home. You were around my family, like Kayla said, washing dishes, and like my parents literally view you as like a second daughter. And then I guess they had some type of brand deal where they were supposed to get a camera, but then Liv was like lying and like not giving the camera to Kayla. So she caught her on a lie, and then Liv apologized. So it's like, number one, I feel like that's weird. Like, as a friend, why are you moving like that? Why are you keeping something from me that is owed to me when you've been living in my house, like being around my parents, being around my family? So I understand where Kayla's coming from when it comes to that. Then strike number 2, they were supposed to go film for the show when they went to go out to eat with Liv, Kayla, Connor, and Kendall. And they were talking about like if they should get Glam to go out with them or not. And I guess Liv said she wasn't going to get Glam. So Kayla didn't get Glam. But then when they show up, Liv is Glam. And it's like, girl, once again, I understand where Kayla's coming from. Like, that's so weird. Like, why lie about that? Like, if we're both not going to get Glam, then let's both not be Glam. Like, if you were, then just say you were. Like, I don't understand what's the point of lying. Like, just be honest. Like, that's so unnecessary to me. And then, like, the third time was the third strike within the same episode was, I guess, at that same dinner with Connor and Kendall, they were talking about how Liv, she's seeing somebody, and I guess their birthday party was coming up or something like that. And they were talking about going out. But then the night of, Liv was like, oh, we're not going out anymore. So then Kayla's like, okay. She takes a bath. She lays down. She's thinking, okay, it's going to be a, nice night in. And then she wakes up in the morning. She says she gets on Snap, I think she said, and she sees that Liv is indeed partying. And on top of that, Kendall is there. So she's like, girl, once again, why tell me that you guys are not going to party, but then you actually do party? Then on top of that, Kendall is there. And then when Kayla tried to like, bring it up to Liv, she was like, no, she just came up with all the excuses. And then on top of that was like, plus I didn't even invite Kendall. Kendall happened to be there. And I'm like, girl, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's the principle. If you still knew that you were going to go out anyway, why didn't you hit me up and be like, oh, we're actually going to go? It's just really, really strange. I just don't understand why Liv is treating Kayla like this. And I totally get where she's coming from, because when it comes to friendships, those can hurt just as much as relationships, you know, because that is still someone that you love and you trust, even if it's in a platonic way, even if it's just that sisterhood moment, you really trust this person. And when they start moving weird, like, that is really hurtful. And I don't like the fact that Liv wasn't really taking accountability. And then on top of that, when they showed up to the Love Island like party, they showed up separately, and Liv shows up with Kendall. It's like, what's going on? Also, you know, I thought it was interesting that Leah kind of made a comment to be like, I don't know what's going on between Kendall and Liv, because I'm like bombastic side eyeing about that too. Like, hello, like, have y'all slept together or what? Like, what's going on with Kendall and Liv? Like, I don't understand. But for once, I'm kind of on Kayla's side here until we get more context, because, you know, from what I can tell and from the edit that we were given, Liv is kind of moving a little strange. So I will continue to keep watching it and just see where this journey with Beyond the Villa takes us. Now we have my favorite thing of the week. You guys know I've been trying to get better at remembering those, just to kind of give you guys a glimpse of like what I'm into and what I'm up to that week. And right now I would have to say my favorite thing of the week is miniso. For those who don't know, miniso is a cute little, I think it's some type of Asian. I can't tell if the lettering on here is like Korean or Chinese or Japanese, but it's an Asian store basically. And they sell a lot of like cute items, like Hello Kitty stuff. And they have like a lot of blind boxes there as well. And my sister and I have been really loving miniso for like the past like year or two, since they opened up one at the mall that's about like 40 minutes away from us. So we don't get to go as often as we like, but we went this past week and we had such a good shopping trip. I didn't realize that the prices of a lot of the items that they had in there have gone up. Like when they first opened miniso, a lot of the stuff in there used to be like relatively cheap, but now I feel like they're like really running it up when it comes to the coin. I ended up getting this like Hello Kitty bath themed blind box, and I also got a Cupid. For those who don't know, this is like a cute little like figurine. It almost looks like a Sunny Angel, but it's like Sunny Angel before Sunny Angel was a thing. And it was really interesting to learn like the origins of Cupid. And I also ended up getting, what else did I get? A Cupid. I got the Hello Kitty box, like I said. And I also got another blind box that was themed after The Office, because those who know, I love that show so much. So I can't wait to see what I got. And I also ended up going to the Pop Mart vending machine, because I talked about this previously. The nearest Pop Mart storefront by me is 4 hours away in Chicago, but they do have a vending machine that's at the mall that's about 40 minutes away from me. So either way, still kind of got to take a drive, but I was able to check out the vending machine. And of course, they didn't have any Labubus, because my coworker, she was saying that her daughter is really into Labubus, but now she's like realizing that the more she gets into the lore of like Labubus and learning about Pop Mart, she's realizing that it's really hard to get one. And I'm like, yeah, girl, like I don't even have a Labubu, you know? And when it comes to Pop Mart, I don't really like, I did an episode talking about blind boxes and like my favorite brands and my favorite series like within those brands. So with Pop Mart, I'm not really interested in Labubus, but I told you guys that I'm interested in the Peach Riots and the Crybabies, and I really want one of the Pucky Beanie Bubble Ups. So I went to the vending machine to see if they had any of those. And they only had a Crybaby. They didn't have any Peach Riots. They didn't have any Pucky Bubble Ups. They just had like 2 other types of Puckies that I wasn't really interested in. And of course, they didn't have any Labubus. The Labubus were out of stock. So yeah. And it's like at this point, I was looking for the Labubus for my coworker's daughter, because if I found one, I was going to get one for her. But then the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, well, yes, like I also want a Labubu too, because I don't have one. But every single time I try to go in the Pop Mart app and I put notify me when available, so then I know when they're dropping, I never get a notification. So I always end up missing the restocks. So at this point, I don't know if I'm ever going to get a Labubu. I'm manifesting that I will, because they are really cute and I really want one. And I also want to get like some cute clothes for mine. But for the time being, I'm just going to focus on, like I said, the Peach Riots, the Puckies, and the other stuff that they offer that I really like. So yeah, I was able to get that at the vending machine. And overall, it was just a fun trip. I also ended up eating in the food court, and my sister and I got some Panda Express because I don't know what it is about that Panda Express at that location, at that mall, because for a long time, we did not have a Panda Express storefront like in my area, in my local area. So the only time that I would be able to eat Panda Express is at this specific mall. And like I said, the mall is 40 minutes away. So we wouldn't get to go that often. So whenever we did go to the mall, you better believe I'm getting some Panda Express. Are you kidding me? That orange chicken and motherfucking chow mein. Like, I need that stat, you know? And now we do have a Panda Express that's about like 10 minutes away from me. So I'm able to eat it more often. But whenever I go to that mall, I still find myself getting Panda, because now that I've had the Panda Express that's near me and the Panda at the mall, I feel like the Panda at the mall is still better, bro. And like, even though the orange chicken is a little bit spicier, I still really like it. So I ended up eating that and I smashed, you know? Also, I'm really, really sick and sad because my local mall also closed Auntie Anne's. And I'm like, bro, like, what is up? Like, I don't understand why these things happen to me. Like, what did I do to deserve not having a local Auntie Anne's? Are you freaking serious right now? Like, what am I going to do without my pretzel dogs? What am I going to do about my cinnamon nuggets with that icing glaze dip? Like, bro, what? I'm so sick about it. Like, so sick, like distraught, because I would never go to the mall to get it. I would just get it on DoorDash. And then if I was happened to be at the mall, I would, of course, get it every single time. But now I can't even DoorDash to Auntie Anne's anymore. So that made me really sad. But since we were at the mall, I could have gone Auntie Anne's since my local mall doesn't have it anymore. But they also have Cinnabon, right? And it's like every single time I go to this mall, it's always a battle on, do I get Cinnabon or do I get Auntie Anne's? And the gag is both of the stores are right next to each other. So I'm like, dang, what do I do? And in the end, they ended up having these like Cinnabites that they had, where it's like not even a cinema roll, but it's almost like just I don't even know, dude. I'll try to put a picture of it, but either way, them things was good. And then you get like a side of the glaze, the icing. Bro, they're talking about, do you want it warmed up or not? Warmed. Thank you. Like, what the freak, are you kidding me? Of course I want that warmed up, bro. Like, Cinnabon, you might have to see me again, honestly, because the way that was so freaking good, I might actually go like maybe next week. I might have to run them all back. And it's crazy because I asked my boyfriend if he wanted to come with us. I asked him if he wanted to come with us, and he's like, no, it's fine. I'm like, what, you don't feel like walking? Yeah, no, I don't feel like walking. I come back. I bring the Cinnabon back. I've got 2 little bites left. He's like, dang, I want a bite. I give him the second one because I love my man, a sacrifice. And he's like, why didn't you bring me some? I asked you if you wanted to go, brother in Christ. I asked you if you wanted to go. So what? And it was the same thing he did when me and my sister went to Raising Cane's. I asked him if he wanted to come. He didn't want to come. And I was hoping that he would so he could drive. That would have been nice if he could literally be our chauffeur. But he said no, he didn't want to go. Then we get there. He texts me. He sees my location. Dang, I should have went. Oh my God, brother, this guy stinks. We're to SpongeBob. Like, what? So I'm done with Juwan's games going forward, guys. Like, if he say he don't want to go at this point, I'm just gonna have to force him to come, because I'm sick of coming back and him being like, dang, I should have went. You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted the Cinnabon, you should have came through with your girls, okay? But yeah, shout out to Miniso. I love them down. Like, all the blind boxes I got were super cute. And shout out to Pop Mart. Y'all kind of eat that vending machine. Like, that was a cute moment too. I think I ended up spending like between me and my sister like $90 in Miniso and then like $40 at the Pop Mart machine. But like, I gotta put me first. Okay? Like, at the same time, I also had paid my freaking consumer's bill, my Wi-Fi, and my car note. I deserve a little treat. You know, I deserve a couple little blind boxes after paying these motherfucking bills. So what? Like, I'm gonna do me. But anyways, so yeah, like, shout out to Miniso. If y'all hear this, like, you want to work with your girl, like, I'm literally down to work. Okay. And like I said before, if you guys want to see my blind box openings, I post them on my coloring account at Coloring with Kristen on TikTok and Instagram. Sometimes I like put my podcast page as like a collaborator on there as well if I don't like feel like posting that day on my podcast account. So you guys like may or may not see them on there sometimes as well. But yeah, follow me over there so you can like see my unboxings. Now I have like 5 boxes that I got yesterday. So over the course of like the next couple of weeks, I'll be loading those videos up and see what I got. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I love having these chats with you guys. And like I said at the beginning, if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment down below to let me know what you thought about the episode, and subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, rate that 5 stars, leave a review. And with that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Cause I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya.